Hi, I'm Pavel. I'm CTO at Dev, and I want to talk about how to create new function at speed. How to create new function for long-term software. So GOD or GOD, like a God, works on important projects, on long-term projects. Our project I use in the whole world, in every continent, and the sun never goes down, is every time over our project. And if you are working with important long-term projects, of course you have a lot of releases. And for every release, you have new functions, new code. It means more releases is always more code. At the beginning, the application is very small and have only core functionality. And it's pretty simple to add additional functionality to the small software, but during the time, the software becomes bigger and bigger and had a lot of functionality there, and you have no time for creating a clean structure in your software. It's pretty horrible to add additional functionality to the software in this state, because you have no structure there, you have a lot of bugs there, and this is the point why we have software review as a service. We do software service not only for us, but for another companies, for example, for Lufthansa. We get software in this state, and after our code review or architecture review or software review, we get the state with clean structure, clean architecture, and it's pretty simple to add and to extend software. And in this case, you will have structure like this. Why we are doing software as a service? Of course, the first point is maintainability. If you have clean structure, it's really simple to find the bug in the software. Another point is scalability of the dev team. If you have a really clean structure and not independent modules, it's not possible to work with a big team on the same software. You can have maybe 2 developers, but it's not possible to work with 30 developers at the same time. And short onboarding time. If you have a scaling architecture, if you have a recognizable architecture, it's pretty simple to the developer understand what is the application about and in which part of the application, for example, you should find the business logic, and with which part of the application you will find the connection to the database. Maybe first, how the software development works. In general, we have 4 different levels. First, requirements, what's the application about, what the application should do. Second point is architecture. It's about technical architecture, what is our current environment, where application should work. Then we speak about the components, because we use a lot of different libraries, a lot of functionality already implemented by another smart guys, and we don't need to implement everything again and again. But what we should implement, of course, is our business logic, and therefore its main part of the application is coding, or software development is coding. Then, what we are doing during the reviewing of the application, we have a list of criteria for every level. For example, for requirement, do you have any acceptance criteria? Or do you have additionally to functional, non-functional requirements? But the architecture, we really deep thought about how can we measure the quality of the architecture. First point, of course, how simple to develop the application, how simple to maintain the application and how simple to deploy and build the application. For quality of components, we use tool-driven way, for example, Sonograph or 101, but we do it in the manual way, for example, using clean architecture principles of Uncle Bob. For code reviewing, they use tools as well, like Findbox, PMD, Checkstyle, Sonograph, but they're using manually as well. So, and for every this point, we do the checklist. And they see, oh, look, you use no acceptance criteria, but we think it's a really nice idea to have acceptance criteria-driven development, because in this way, every developer can understand in which case his functionality is done. Or do you have no functional requirements, and developer cannot understand how many users would use your application. Or you have no scaling architecture. So the developer cannot recognize or can recognize, for example, you have onion architecture, but the functionality which belongs to the connection to the database is in the wrong place. And we say, yeah, please move this point. It is in the wrong level and do it in another level. Or for components, sometimes now the customer have bidirectional dependencies between modules. And if you have bidirectional dependencies, it's really horrible to extend the functionality of your application, because in this case, you must completely test your application after that. And any small change can destroy the whole application. Do you have one directional dependencies of every module? You can change your functionality only one place and change only one part of the application. So, and you should do it every time, every sprint. And after every sprint, we can check your application again and again, and our criteria fulfilled or not. And in this case, if you spend a lot of time, you are able, like we, to extend your application, which are 20 or 30 years old.